The card Annie picked up had a dare on it. Make out with someone you like for 2 minutes. Our friends cheered, and she stood up, walking in my direction. We hadn't been getting along lately, and I closed my eyes, unsure of what was happening. Annie leaned down and whispered sarcastically in my ear, "Want me to kiss you, Mark? Too bad, I'm so over it." Then, she turned and kissed Ben. In that moment, I realized I didn't want to be with her anymore. The next day, I applied to study abroad and agreed to the marriage my family had arranged. On her birthday, I flew to another country without looking back. As soon as the plane landed, my phone started buzzing with calls from her. Annie had had a bit to drink when she picked the dare card. A friend, being nosy, grabbed the card and read it out loud on purpose. Make out with someone you like for 2 minutes. Everyone looked at me and started teasing. Annie had planned this whole night. We'd been in a cold war for over a month. Usually I would have given in and tried to make up, but this time I was being stubborn and wouldn't back down. I thought it would take a long time for things to get better, but then Annie called me out of nowhere that day. I got a little nervous, and my fingers tightened around the edge of my shirt. Annie stood up. A few friends nudged me and laughed. "Mark, your girlfriend's coming to kiss you." A warm feeling spread through me, and I looked at Annie. She was wearing a white dress that I liked. Through the haze of alcohol, her eyes looked extra soft as she looked at me. I blushed, and my hands got even sweatier. By the time I looked up again, Annie was standing right in front of me. She leaned down, and her slightly drunk voice sounded very gentle. I was so nervous as she leaned in to kiss me that I panicked and closed my eyes. But the kiss never came. Instead, I felt a warm breath on my ear and heard a quiet, mocking whisper, "Want me to kiss you, Mark?" I suddenly opened my eyes. Annie was already standing up straight, and her smile was cold and full of dislike. In that moment, my face felt hot, but my hands and feet went cold and started to shake. I sat there stiffly, numbly watching her turn and walk away. In the stunned silence of the crowded room, she reached for Ben's hand. "Is that okay?" I knew Ben had always liked her. He had shown it many times, openly and secretly. When I used to get jealous, she would just say she wasn't interested in him. But now, she looked at Ben with a passionate look in her eyes. Without hesitating, she leaned down and kissed him. They kissed for a full 2 minutes, not a second less. When they were done, she even reached up and touched Ben's slightly swollen lips, wiping away a bit of moisture from the corner of his mouth. Friends sitting next to me looked sad and sympathetic. Annie glanced at me, then grabbed a bottle. "Why is it so quiet? It's fun. Let's keep playing." Someone quickly tried to ease the tension. "Annie, you shouldn't drink anymore. You're drunk." "Yeah, Annie," another said. "Mark looks like he's going to explode. Go make up with him." Annie leaned back in her chair, relaxed. "Why should I make up with him? He's still your boyfriend. You were a bit much." "Who said he's my boyfriend?" Annie's mocking smile grew colder. "Didn't we break up a month ago?" I looked down, and a small laugh escaped me. "Mark, are you okay?" The friend beside me held my hand. I shook my head. "It's nothing. I'm heading out. You guys keep playing." I stood up and walked outside. I heard Ben's voice. "Are you mad? Who cares?" Annie called for more drinks. "Keep drinking, Annie. Mark seems really mad this time." I didn't stop. I just opened the door and left. Annie's lazy voice drifted out. "What's that got to do with me? Hasn't he been truly mad every time? But he always comes back to patch things up, so do you still want to get back with him?" The closed door shut out all sounds. I didn't hear her answer, but it didn't matter to me anymore, because I was done with Annie. I had decided to stay and go to graduate school here. Now, going abroad to study seemed like a pretty good idea. I took some time to pack up my things from Annie's apartment and brought them back to my dorm. I hadn't told anyone about going abroad yet. Life got busy, and there was a lot to prepare. Gradually, I rarely thought of Annie anymore. I hadn't seen her in a while, until that day in the school cafeteria. She was with some friends and a new guy. He was good-looking, but not like Ben from before. "Mark, long time no see. Want to join us for lunch?" One of her friends smiled at me. I just politely smiled back. "No thanks. I'm here with my roommates." "Okay then. By the way, there's a gathering at the usual spot tonight. You in?" I instinctively glanced at Annie. Her face was blank, not showing anything, but she didn't interrupt her friend either. I felt calm and shrugged it off. "Nah, I've got other plans tonight." "Why so much chit-chat over lunch?" Annie suddenly gave them a cold look and just walked away. Her friend awkwardly apologized to me. I waved it off and turned to leave after dinner. When I returned to the dorm building, I ran into Annie and her new boyfriend. He had his arm around her neck, trying to kiss her. Annie looked kind of annoyed. I walked by without looking and was about to go inside. "Mark!" Annie suddenly called out. I paused, but kept going. "Mark, I'm talking to you. Didn't you hear?" She pushed past the guy and stood in front of me. "What's up?" I kept my voice steady. "Something. Okay, go on." Annie's new boyfriend came over, glaring at me competitively. "That cake you always got me. Where was it from?" Annie leaned lazily against her boyfriend, looking directly at me. "My boyfriend loves cake, too, and I want to get it for him." "I made it," I replied calmly. "If he wants some, I can send him the recipe." Annie frowned. "No need for that. Just make a couple for me. I'll pay you." I chuckled. "Sorry, I don't have the time." "Is it really lack of time, or are you just unwilling?" She smirked. Jealous? I suddenly felt it was all pointless. I didn't want to argue or waste words on this stuff. "Think whatever you want." I sidestepped her and walked quickly into the building. Once inside, my roommate dragged me to the window. Downstairs, Annie and her new guy seemed to be arguing. Soon, she shrugged him off, got in her car, and drove away. The guy stood there for a while, then left, looking defeated. "Mark," my roommate hinted eagerly, "I think Annie still likes you. He's just trying to make you jealous so you'll give in first." I laughed and poked his forehead. "Quit reading so many novels, it's frying your brain." Because I had liked Annie, I had turned down a marriage arranged by my relatives in the past. With my plan to go abroad, they brought it up again. "Uncle, can I think about it some more?" "Sure, you're focused on your studies now. No rush for marriage, but meet this person before you leave. It's important you like them, okay? I couldn't reject their goodwill. My uncles were my world after Mom passed away and Dad remarried." That night, I met up with my best buddy and shared my plans to study abroad. During a bathroom break, I got a call from Annie. "Mark, your stuff. I moved it back to the dorm. Since you're moving, take it all. My boyfriend's coming over tonight, and your stuff's making him upset." Annie's tone was neutral. "Sorry, just throw it away," I replied. "Sure, but don't regret it." Her voice clicked off, leaving me staring blankly at my reflection. Why would I care about anything she ever gave me if I'd already let go of her? I agreed to meet the person my uncles had arranged for me to meet before leaving, never expecting the person to be someone I'd soon have to call my fiancé. My buddy was just stunned, clutching my arm and whispering, "Mark, you're getting matched with Selena." I sat up straight, my face flushing. I hadn't known it would be her. "I'm freaking out, Mark. I'm scared, so nervous," he muttered, and let go of my hand. Selena was walking over and he jumped up. "I'll be right back from the restroom." He left, practically bolting away like a rabbit. "Selena," I greeted softly, suddenly too shy to meet her eyes. Selena sat across from me. "What do you feel like eating?" "Anything's fine with me." She ordered a few dishes. "Does this work?" I glanced at the menu, surprised to see all my favorites. I couldn't help but look at her. She was a woman with such poise and elegance. Today she seemed more relaxed, not so intimidating, but I still felt tense, mumbling, "It's fine." Once the server left, Selena spoke up. "Are you afraid of me, Mark?" I nodded without thinking, then quickly shook my head. Whenever I saw her, it was always in the distance with my aunt. I rarely talked to her, just observed. She wasn't that much older, only 27, just a different generation. "So, what do you think of me?" I was startled. Selena smiled. "No rush, take your time." I took a deep breath. "Mark, you can call me Selena." I pressed my palm, finally whispering, "Selena, I'm going abroad to study for at least 2 years. "No problem, if you're okay with it, we can get engaged first." "Why?" I was a bit confused. She has so many options when it comes to marriage, and I'm just an orphan. With my mom gone and my dad remarried, it's like I don't even have a real home. Selena handed me a glass of juice. Her fingers were so long and delicate. They looked like jade against the glass. I caught myself staring, a little lost. She set down the glass and gently ruffled my hair. "Mark, I don't want to scare you, so let's keep this a secret for now." 3 days before heading abroad, Selena and I quietly got engaged. The day before I left, I got a call from Annie. "Mark, tomorrow's my birthday." I was packing and sort of brushed it off with a, "Yeah?" "Yeah, you know where it is." Annie's tone was still a bit lazy. "The choice is yours." Before I could respond, she hung up. My uncle knocked on the door. "Mark, Selena's here to take you to dinner." I quickly answered, snapping my suitcase shut. Annie's call slipped from my mind because of the long flight the next day. Selena didn't keep me out too late. She had a bit to drink at dinner. As I got out of the car, she suddenly grabbed my wrist gently. "Mark?" With just a bit of pressure, she pulled me closer. The sweet scent of wine mixed with the fresh, earthy aroma of sandalwood and cedar surrounded me. It was so different from Annie's proud, aloof vibe. Selena had this mature, unique allure. I briefly felt overwhelmed until she kissed me lightly. "Get some rest. I'll take you to the airport tomorrow." She then reached out, brushed her fingers over my lips while I stood there, flustered. She whispered, "Mark really lives up to his name." At 7 p.m., all the friends had gathered. There was an empty seat next to Annie. She hadn't brought a date. Everyone knew it was saved for Mark. After all the back and forth, they could tell Annie still liked Mark, but she was too proud, always wanting him to make the first move. "After tonight, just make up with him. Why drag it out? Always acting like we owe you $1 million. When Mark gets here, apologize properly." Annie glanced lazily at the door. "Not apologizing. Giving him an out is enough." "Keep being difficult, won't you? What time is it now? Why isn't Mark here yet? Did you let him know, Annie?" She glanced at her watch. "He can come if he wants to." "I'll go check outside." Annie didn't stop the person. She moved to the window, looking down at the street where the sky was darkening. Cars came and went, but she didn't know if the one she hoped for was there. For some reason, she thought of last year's birthday. Back then, she and Mark were great. He gave her diamond earrings, which she rarely wore, and she gave him a belt and cufflinks that he used almost every day. But that day, he left them behind at her apartment and walked away. It made Annie's chest feel heavy thinking about it. Suddenly, the room door flew open, and someone burst in, shouting excitedly, "Annie, he's here!" She quickly turned, feeling the weight lift off her heart. Mark liked her a lot, she knew it. He'd definitely come tonight. Once he got here, she'd swallow her pride and apologize. Annie leaned against the windowsill, still looking calm and collected. She acted like she didn't care who walked through the door, but her arm was tense, and her fingers had unknowingly clenched tight. They said it's a huge surprise. The person's excitement was contagious, and Annie let out a small smile. She lowered her gaze and casually said, "It's the same old drill every year. What surprise could it be?" "But this year's different." Annie kept a neutral face, but her heart was starting to flutter. What surprise would Mark give her? Her friends were right. She had gone too far that day. She got caught up and kissed another guy, Ben, right in front of Mark. But even after that, she wished she had immediately apologized if he had confronted her. Yet Mark just silently left. During the time after, she acted out, changing partners often. Mark must have felt hurt. Despite that, he still planned a birthday surprise for her. Annie suddenly felt a thought settle in her mind. That's it, he's the one. She would let go of her wild side and be in a real relationship with Mark. A friend nudged her gently, whispering, "Dropped the act already?" Annie surprisingly nodded. "Yep." The friend was a little shocked. "You really get it now?" Annie chuckled. "Yeah, I really do." "Wow, this is a first." "Yeah, it was totally my fault before." Annie looked sincerely at her friend. "I've decided I'm going to settle down, really be with Mark, and stop making him upset." Friends were beaming with relief. "Finally doing this, huh? Mark is going to be over the moon. It's not too late." No sooner had Annie spoken than two waiters wheeled in a giant pink box tied with a silky ribbon. Annie looked a bit flustered. Her friend chuckled and nudged her forward. "Come on, go see what surprise Mark has for you." Her heart began to race. She was no stranger to such scenes, having been around the block before, yet her palms were sweating with nervousness. Could Mark be inside? Was his surprise and intention to offer himself to her? Annie's mind was a jumble of thoughts. They had been dating for over 2 years. This year, while Mark was prepping for grad school exams, he occasionally crashed at his off-campus apartment after late-night study sessions. But they hadn't taken the final step. Honestly, she felt some frustration about it. Their silent treatments mostly stemmed from this issue. She vividly recalled their worst fight, where she couldn't muster a single word to coax him. Now, Annie finally realized Mark had no mother and a father who remarried and had new kids, ignoring him. If she genuinely cared and loved him, she'd consider his insecurities. She'd make commitments and give him reassurance and status. Suddenly, Annie had a change of heart. Why not propose to him tonight? As she thought about this, the wild beating of her heart settled into a calm. It was as if, deep down, she had been waiting for this moment to make the decision. Friends surrounded her, guiding her to the huge pink box. She reached out and untied the ribbon bow. The box's lid popped open, letting colorful heart-shaped balloons float upwards, and a boy popped up amid the flying balloons, gleefully shouting, "Annie, surprise!" The boy jumped into her arms, wrapping his arms tightly around her neck. Before Annie could react, he planted a big kiss on her cheek. "Happy birthday, Annie! Surprised?" The boy beamed at Annie with joy in his eyes. Annie remained still, staring at him in a moment of confusion and bewilderment. It hit her. When had Mark become so forward and cheerful? When had Mark's face become so unfamiliar and off-putting? Only after half a minute did she slowly come back to her senses. When the boy leaned in for another kiss, she abruptly shoved him away. "Annie," the boy almost stumbled. The dazzling light shone on his face. Her eyes caught the flash of 2 diamond cufflinks on his wrist, and the sight stabbed Annie's heart. She stepped forward and grabbed the boy's arm. Her beautiful face twisted with anger. "Who told you to wear these cufflinks? Who gave you permission?" Terrified, the boy stammered, "You said they were an eyesore and told me to throw them away." but I thought they were pretty, so I kept them. "Take them off," Annie demanded. The boy hadn't yet responded, and Annie coldly glared at him, increasing her grip. "Will you take them off? Or should I?" The room fell silent like a tomb. The boy, trembling, removed the cufflinks and threw them at Annie, yelling, "Annie, I want to break up with you." "Break up?" Annie laughed, clenching the cufflinks. "Did we ever have a relationship? Did I say you were my boyfriend?" The boy froze. "But you went out with me, took me home, kissed me, hugged me, so—" Annie's smile was cruel. "I've kissed lots of people. Does that make them all my boyfriends?" "Annie, you're an asshole." "You're right, I am an asshole. So, can you leave now?" In Annie's tightened fist, blood slowly oozed. The cufflink had pierced her palm, but she kept clutching it, refusing to let go. The pain gradually cleared her mind. Mark wasn't coming to her birthday, and she had pathetically waiting for him to bring a birthday surprise. The long flight finally ended. By the time I arrived in the foreign country, it was dusk, and back home it must have been around 3 or 4 in the morning. As soon as I turned on my phone, messages poured in. It took a while for the phone to settle down. Randomly opening the messages, nearly all were from Annie, alongside missed call notifications. I frowned, surprised. Annie had never been like this. When we had our silent spells before, she wouldn't reach out unless it was to embarrass me publicly. Now, thinking of that night seemed like it happened in another lifetime. I chuckled, pushing aside those unhappy memories. Suddenly, my phone buzzed with a call. It was Annie's number again. I ignored it, and she called a second time. There's no deep hate between Annie and me. Her dad and my uncles do a lot of business together. I never planned to cut her off completely. We just returned to a state of mutual indifference. But clearly, she didn't see it the same way, and I'm already engaged. I should maintain proper boundaries with other women. I declined the call, then blocked and deleted her number. Moments later, a friend's call came in. I also ignored it. Quickly, they texted, "Mark, please pick up the phone, will you? Annie's birthday was yesterday, and she drank all night. Now she's in the hospital on a drip. We can all see she really regrets it this time. Mark, give her a chance." Holding my phone not far away, the car Selena ordered to pick me up was waiting. Thinking of Selena's embrace as we parted, warmth filled my heart. She said she'd fly over to visit me every month from now on. She also told me to focus on my studies, promising she'd wait patiently until I returned with success. She assured me there wouldn't be any scandalous news about her reaching me abroad. Thinking about Selena always gave me an inexplicable sense of peace. I wouldn't be anxious anymore. I thought for a moment and replied to my friend, "We've broken up. Please don't tell me anything about her anymore. Thanks." After replying, I locked my phone and put it back in my bag. Selena had arranged for someone to help me with my luggage. The driver opened the car door for me politely. "Mark, Selena has arranged everything. First, let's take you home." The car drove down the streets in this foreign country. I curiously looked out at the street scenes. Everything was fresh and full of hope. Suddenly, I felt excited about the new life ahead. After I replied to my friend's message, Annie didn't call or text again. I quickly forgot everything about her. I devoted all my energy to my new life of studies. A month later, Selena came abroad to see me, just as she promised. I don't know why, but even though it was just a month later, seeing her again made me feel shy. When she sent me abroad, she hugged and kissed me at the airport, but now I was too bashful even to look at her. As dinner was about to begin, Selena suddenly stood up and moved from across the table to sit next to me. I instantly tensed up, sitting upright with my hands on my knees like a well-behaved school kid. "Mark." Selena gently held my hand. My palms were sweaty and warm, but Selena held on tightly. "Why are you afraid of me after just a month?" I couldn't answer. It was a strange, subtle feeling I couldn't put into words. Do I need to start visiting twice a month instead? I quickly turned to look at her. Selena, right in that moment, leaned in to kiss me. Mark, I've missed you this month. Her voice was low and slightly raspy as our lips met. I instinctively wanted to pull away, but she held my arm, not letting me move. The kiss wasn't very deep like before, not making me uncomfortable or caught off guard. Instead, a sense of joy swelled inside me, almost making it hard to breathe. It felt like a little silver spoon was stirring a honey drink with crushed ice in my heart, sweetness spreading ripple-like. My hand somehow clutched her sleeve tightly, leaving creases. It wasn't until the server came by that Selena stopped the kiss. My face felt hot, probably red as a beet. But being with Selena from then on, I wasn't as shy or nervous as before. Even after a bit of wine once, I boldly joked with her, "Selena, I feel so comfortable and at ease with you." How so? I propped my chin with one hand, looked at her for a while, and suddenly burst into laughter. It's like being around my uncles, really relaxed and comfortable. Like I'm still a kid. Selena raised an eyebrow slightly. Well, you are still a kid, Mark. At your age, you should be carefree and untethered, she said gently, tousling my hair. Just keep being a kid from now on. At least with me, you can always be like this. Why? I looked at her in confusion, asking again, why me? Why get engaged to me? Why be so good to me? After my mom passed, I learned that many people in this world value interests above all. Whatever they do, they consider if it benefits them. But I carefully considered this in my heart. Besides the inheritance from my mom, I have nothing worth scheming over, and for Selena, that inheritance is insignificant. Mark, I'll tell you on our wedding day. Selena kissed my forehead and wrapped a scarf around me. Mark, you're tipsy. We should head home. All right, Selena. Let's go home. 3 days after Selena went back home, I saw Annie as I left the school library. The morning mist had lifted, and the sun was hanging in the sky, yet it was still cold. I was bundled up in a coat and scarf, but the chill seemed to seep in from everywhere. Annie stood under a tree with just a light coat. She seemed thinner, perhaps from a long flight, looking a bit worn out, but she still caught people's eyes, even in this foreign campus setting. I paused for a second, then continued walking, holding my books without looking at her. But Annie stopped me. Mark? She stepped forward, blocking my way. I didn't know how long she'd been standing here, with mist wetting her hair and eyes. I've been looking for you for a long time. I smiled. What's up? Why did you suddenly decide to study abroad? Why didn't you tell me? She grasped my arm. I stepped back, withdrawing my hand. It's been in the past. I don't care anymore. Annie frowned slightly. Then why are you studying abroad? It's my choice. She looked at me, frowning deeper. All right. Studying abroad is a done deal. It can't be changed. I'll just have to visit more often. I was surprised. Visit more often? I'm the woman. Of course, it's on me to fly over to see you. Wait, I interrupted her. Annie, you don't need to fly to see me. There's no obligation, and I don't need that. Mark, are you still mad at me? If you're still upset, why say you're over it? I almost laughed in frustration. Annie, how much clearer do I need to make this? When I say it's all in the past, it's because I don't care about it or you anymore. Understand? What's that supposed to mean? We broke up ages ago. I looked at her calmly. Annie, now do you get it? I couldn't tell if Annie was too arrogant or if I hadn't made myself clear enough. She didn't go back home. Instead, she kept waiting for me at school every day. At first, I ignored her, treating her like she was invisible. But in just a couple of days, rumors started spreading around school. Everyone was talking about how I had this beautiful Asian girlfriend. I worried it would blow up and reach Selena. That would make her unhappy. After thinking it over and over, I finally decided to have a serious talk with Annie. But before I could even start, she pulled out a ring. "Mark, I know what's on your mind. You want to get married, want security, right?" She grabbed my hand, trying to slip the ring onto my finger. "Let's get engaged first, and you can decide when we officially tie the knot. Isn't that good enough?" I yanked my hand away, and the ring fell onto the table. I won't deny it. When I liked her the most, I did dream about this day. But after countless silent treatments, countless arguments over sleeping together or not, countless jealous spats over other guys, and then ultimately witnessing her kiss Ben, my feelings and expectations for her vanished into thin air. "Annie, I'm here just to tell you one more thing. We're done. Go back and don't come looking for me again." Annie seemed to get angry all of a sudden. "Mark, you've been dragging this out long enough. I won't push you for anything you don't want. You want to get married? Fine, I've agreed to everything. What more do you want?" "Annie, I'm already engaged." I looked at her calmly. "So please stop bothering me, okay?" Annie stared at me for a while, then suddenly laughed. "Come on, Mark. Who are you engaged to? Who could you even be engaged to? We had a fight, called it off for a bit, and you just got engaged to someone else?" Annie looked at me. "Since when did you become so casual?" "Believe it or not," I said everything I needed to say. If you keep harassing me at school, I'll call the police." With that, I grabbed my bag and turned to leave, but Annie grabbed my wrist. "Mark, then tell me, who are you engaged to?" She held on tight, making me stagger a bit. "We dated for 2 years. Even if we're over, if you found someone new, I need to check them out, right?" "No need." "Is there no need, or is there no one at all?" Wow, picking up my old tricks, trying to make me jealous, huh? I honestly thought she was sick, like really unwell. "Annie, I'm not as bored as you." "Then just name your fiancé." "Do you really want to know?" "Of course. My ex getting engaged? I'm curious, aren't I?" I pointed to a nearby magazine rack. On the cover of a business magazine was Selena. "It's her." Annie glanced where I pointed and laughed. "Mark, at least make your lies believable. That's Selena. My dad would bow to her." "I told you it's her, believe it or not." Annie's eyebrows relaxed, and she smiled even more. "Fine, stop joking, Mark. Let's get back together just like before, okay?" I looked at her, feeling it was pointless to explain further, so I just stopped talking and headed outside. Annie looked like she might follow me, but then her phone rang. A few words later, she looked upset and quickly left in her car. I didn't know what was up, but I felt a big sense of relief. After Annie left, the rumors disappeared quickly too. Selena would call and video chat with me frequently, just like before. That's when I felt completely at ease. I guess she hadn't heard any of the nonsense. Month by month passed by. Selena kept flying over twice a month consistently, and Annie never came looking for me again after that time, although she did once call me from a friend's phone. Every time I heard her voice, I'd hang up immediately. Spring came around, and my birthday was approaching. Because I missed my uncles a lot, I went back home with Selena. At a family dinner, Selena brought up getting the marriage license with my uncles. I was a little surprised, but my uncles were thrilled. Honestly, I felt no resistance, just happy. The license date was set for my birthday. We also started slowly planning the wedding. The night before the license, I hung out with my closest pals. Selena told me to go enjoy time with my buddies before tying the knot. After tomorrow, no staying out all night. During dinner, we ran into some friends from Annie's circle. Later, when my friends and I hit up a trendy club, we hadn't been there long before spotting Annie. She was leaning against a car, staring straight at me. The early spring wind was still cold in the city. I pulled my coat tighter and passed her by without looking. Annie didn't call after me. My friends and I didn't care much for noisy places, so we didn't stay long and decided to leave to find a quieter spot for tea and conversation. But before I could stand, Annie stopped me. "Mark, since you're back, don't go abroad again. I just found it bizarre and pointless." I went around her and tried to leave, but Annie blocked me again. "I never threw away those cufflinks." She opened her palm, and the cufflinks still sparkled. Back when I got them as a birthday gift, I was happy, yet a bit sad. I wore them daily, never parted with them. But when I decided to move on for good, I left them at her place and didn't take them. I've been thinking a lot these days. In our last silent treatment, you didn't want to back down, and that wasn't wrong. I shouldn't have tried to provoke you, make you mad on purpose. But Mark, the reason behind it all is that I still have feelings for you. I still care about you. Annie pointed at her earrings. "See? I use the things you gave me every day. Mark, we dated for 2 years, not 2 days or 2 months. I know you still feel attached, don't you?" I was utterly fed up with her words and knew deep down she was used to getting everything her way, always on top of things. She never failed to get what she wanted, and she's never lost what she managed to get. That's why she's so unwilling to let go, why she clings so stubbornly. To call it care seems too cheap. But I'm getting my marriage certificate tomorrow. Annie, you should also move on. Mark, you can be impulsive, decide to get engaged in a huff. But marriage isn't a small matter. Don't gamble your life away over a spat with me. I pushed her hand away forcefully. Annie, you're not that important. You haven't been for a while now. I looked at her intently one last time. Annie, I won't joke about my future with someone who no longer matters. For the first time, I saw a look on Annie's face I hadn't seen before. Always so nonchalant, unaffected by everything. Even when I'd break down crying and talk about breaking up, she'd just frown irritably, lighting a cigarette. But now she stood there, her usually carefree eyes oddly still. Whether she felt pain or sadness, or how long it had lasted, it was no longer my concern. On the day Selena and I got the certificate, we moved into our new home. Some things just fall into place naturally. My uncles approved of our marriage, and Selena meticulously followed traditional procedures. Her earnestness and sincerity turned my uncles from initial worry to acceptance. It was then that I learned the truth. After Mom passed, when Dad wanted to remarry, Selena helped make my inheritance process smooth. Without her, my uncles alone would have struggled significantly. The heating in the house was on full blast. While Selena dried my hair, I wasn't sure if it was just us being so close or if the warmth of the heater was too much. I felt a light sweat on my back, my face getting flushed. "Selena, can you tell me why now?" She turned off the dryer, whispered into my ear, and smiled. "I'll tell you after the wedding night, Mark." I glared at her in the mirror. "If I want to change my mind, then it'll be way too late. Do you want to change your mind? If you don't give me a satisfying answer?" My voice trailed off because Selena had wrapped her arms around my waist, kissing me deeply. Unlike the gentle kisses before, this one left me breathless. She pushed back the messy hair by my ear. When she kissed my earlobe, I shivered, feeling goosebumps on my neck like an electric shock. "What's your plan, Mark? Plan on backing out or sneaking away?" Her words came with kisses to the most sensitive spot on my neck. I wanted to dodge, but there was nowhere to go. In the end, she captured my swollen lips again. I responded clumsily. "When I first met you, you were just 16, when my mom was still alive." I looked at her dazed. She held me, stroking my back gently. Back then, you weren't an adult yet. Then your mom passed. You were still not 18. I remember you at my mom's funeral. I was resting against her chest. You told me to stay strong, not to cry myself sick. You grew up, became an adult. But the timing was still off, Mark. I had to wait. Selena cradled my face, wiping away each tear on my cheek. I then remembered those years. My uncles would occasionally mention setting me up with someone, but I had just lost my mom, still too young to think about it. I didn't expect you'd go to college, fall for another guy. Secretly, I wished to take you back, but seeing you happy with him made me drop the idea. For 2 whole years, Mark, I never felt so tormented. Selena looked at me, tracing her fingers over my features, every inch finally resting at the tears from my eyes. Mark. Selena. So you were scared to frighten me because you liked me since I was 16? Selena didn't answer. The truth was far from simple, yet she couldn't utter the secret and unseen love she harbored. Her dreams frequently involved him, and in them, she had crossed many lines. But now, reality matched the dream. He was truly by her side. Yes, I despised myself for such weakness, even sought therapy. But isn't it normal for a teenager's heart to flutter with first love? But I'm 6 years older than you, Mark. At that age, he might dream of pure love, but she already felt an intense possessiveness toward boys she liked. I looked at her with some trouble. Well, you're 6 years older than me. My brother said women start going downhill at 25, and you're 28. But before I could finish, Selena suddenly pushed me down. As the room spun, my body sunk into the soft bed. Mark, hearing's one thing. Seeing's believing. Why don't you look, feel, and then decide? She guided my hand, eyes widening in surprise at her. Selena seemed amused by my reaction. So, what about 28-year-old women? I tried to pull my hand back, but she held it even tighter. Her fiery kisses landed on my lips again. That night felt so long, like the dawn would never come, but the next day went by in a flash. When I finally opened my eyes, it was already afternoon. The moment I opened them, Selena leaned down and kissed me. Time to get up. I smiled with my eyes closed and hugged her. Do you like me? I bravely looked at her, but then chickened out, turning my face away. Selena held my hand and led me to the bathroom. A while later, she answered, I do, I really do. I've always liked you for a long, long time. When you didn't have a clue, when I was happy or sad, there was someone caring about my every emotion. I don't know what the future holds, but right now, in this very moment, I feel so incredibly happy and satisfied. On the day Selena and I got married, Annie's parents showed up, but Annie didn't. When I saw them, it was a bit awkward for both sides. But I didn't let the stuff between Annie and me affect my feelings towards her folks. During the time we were together, they were pretty nice to me, even if they weren't thrilled about me. Selena wasn't as warm, though, and they seemed a bit uneasy. Annie had once said that her dad always had to lower his head in front of Selena. Yes, her family wasn't as well off as before. If they upset Selena, things might get even worse for them. Looking at their worried expressions, I remembered when my mom passed away, and they made the effort to pay their respects. They even hugged me tight with teary eyes. I couldn't help but tug gently at Selena's sleeve. Only then did she soften her expression a bit and accept the gift they brought. While I was changing outfits, I got a text from an unknown number. Mark, congrats on getting married. I knew it was Annie. After thinking a bit, I replied with, thank you. After a while, another text came through. If I had kissed you that day during Truth or Dare, would we still be together? I decided not to reply and deleted the number, blocking it too. In this world, there are no what-ifs. I'm incredibly thankful for her foolishness that day. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't have felt defeated and decided to leave the country. I wouldn't have agreed to meet Selena through my uncle, and I wouldn't have known what being completely and utterly loved by someone feels like.